One of the great things about the Derby Can Consortium was the amount of national portfolio organisations that really bought in to the spirit of the Derby Way and Derby Can. Being able to programme local people, local talent and local voices in those buildings in the city and really develop a fabric of community culture was something that's been really integral to Derby Can.
So in Derby, there are loads of really talented artists and people maybe don't even see themselves as artists, but they're creative in their everyday. And there's also loads of brilliant organisations. And we wanted to find a way to bring those together to make the best of what Derby has to offer. Derby Can has really allowed Derby Theatre to connect into the community in a whole new way. We've met new people, we've met new artists, and we've just been able to open our doors wider than ever before. I feel like Derby Can has transformed how the city works together, how it listens to its community.
It very much aligned with our own artistic kind of vision as well, in terms of broadening out and reconnecting with the communities.
Derby Can has made an absolutely massive impact to the way we work, and we've been able to meet artists, see work that has been created in Derby by Derby artists about the place that they're from, and we've been able to look at that work, grow that work and see the potential for that work, which has been so exciting.
It's enabled us to broaden and have, if you like, greater impact by being attached to Derby Can as one of the partners.
Working together you can create so much more, and by saying yes and opening your doors, bigger things happen, and that has been a brilliant thing to be part of and realise the potential for.
The first big one for me was Rebel Puck, which was again aligned with Fest Day. It was a way of reconnecting with local artists or offering them opportunities to work on that project, and it was a massive success.
One particular high point was Derby Dishes. I remember feeling exhausted that day and feeling like I could hardly have the energy to get there, and then I was met by this most amazing, colourful, rich communities that were presenting their food that they felt so proud of, and all the flavour and all the richness of Derby came across in that night. We've grown volunteer schemes together, and we've seen how we can add value together about a legacy and what stays afterwards. We've been able to give one of the Derby Can first commissions a residency here and support her growth. So there's been lots of small highlights as well as the big highlight.
It's been a really important part of the evolution, if you like, of culture in the city. A recognition that culture plays a really important part in the health and well-being of society, and if you like, the rebuilding of that society coming out of a pandemic. Derby Can has been part of that. One of the, if you like, major tools in our armoury in terms of addressing those issues.
It was all happening here, but Derby Can has catalysed it and made much more possible and rebalanced those scales of where the power lies and who's telling the stories and whose stories they're for, and that has been a brilliant thing to see.
Yeah.
We started talking about, well, how can we support artists through Derby Can? And the kind of obvious link for us as a visual arts organisation was to look at how artists could use digital technology in their practice. We've been able to work with different artists and really help them kind of develop new skills and to reach new audiences through the technology. So I think the way Quad's benefited from Derby Can is being able to strengthen those kind of creative partnerships across the city, and also to work with new emerging artists and to be able to work with young people to develop new skills and new ideas and then showcase it, which I think has been fantastic. For me, I really enjoyed working on one of the early projects with Neil Pike, who was a poet, and we created a virtual reality space, working with different groups who came in and created 3D objects, and we scanned those objects into the computer, and using game engines we created a whole environment working with them. And week to week, kind of seeing the reaction from the participants and seeing their work kind of materialised in a digital form. It's like almost like magic for them. And
people who are creative and who've been running creative projects and programs for years and years, but perhaps wouldn't have thought of themselves as an artist. They're exactly the kind of people that Ingle Company's here to support, so it's really helped us in that way. We met Tandika through Derby Can. It was Derby Can who kind of connected us together and said, we think Tandika would be really good in this role. And since then we'll work with Tandika whenever we get the opportunity, whenever the right project comes up. I think the difference that Derby Can has made to Derby is bringing people together in a really meaningful way.
I saw the benefits of it really, because Ember was a small organisation and a fledgling, if you want to call it that. And I hope to be able to join forces with Derby Can to enable the kind of black art scene that I wanted to develop through Ember, to have more collaborations. We wrote the project that was about securing 6 black artists some funding to be able to deliver their own projects. That helped to build some confidence in the work that I was doing and enable the sustainability of the blacks artists that were locally able to secure this funding, and they've gone on to do their own thing. It's enabled me to grow my confidence, grow my business and grow into a sustained CEO, if that makes any sense.
The thing that was exciting for me about Derby Can was this idea of kind of community control and communities getting access, because a lot of the time in the arts it tends to be like big shiny buildings. So what was really exciting about it is this idea that, you know, other communities and the kind of communities that don't always get access to the arts or Arts Council funding, for them to really kind of be in control of what art looks like for them. My favourite moment with Derby Can was definitely going to see Ruckus's performance, his theatre piece. Both of the events were like sold out, it was rampant full, and there was a lot of people at those events that I just don't think have necessarily been in the theatre before. And I think for them to kind of know that that resource is there, that building's there for them, and to kind of feel that there's something on the stage that connects with them, that they feel, you know, kind of is part of them and is a voice for them, I think was really powerful, and I really enjoyed that. I felt like that was Derby Can kind of really working in the way it was meant to work.
My favourite Derby Can moment was at the Museum of Making for Derby Dishes, where we had 100 people all eating food that had been created by different people across the city, and some really amazing talent, and it just felt like a really joyous community event.
As Derby Can as a project kind of draws to a close, you know, I think what we're looking forward to is what grows out of that in terms of the legacy and the imaginations that project has nurtured. You know, so I think we're in a much better place. We're in a much richer cultural environment than we were at the beginning of the project.
I mean, Derby's really quite unique that we've got such a kind of wide creative offering in such a small city. And I think things like Derby Can really help to kind of bring those groups together, those people together, to put a programme of work together which the community benefit from, we as artists and practitioners benefited from, and kind of expand the scope of what we can do as a city together. So I think Derby Can has really helped kind of nurture new talent, but also bring the creative organisations together by doing so.